Going out to a bar for a drink is probably one of the most common ways Kiwis will unwind after a week of work and catch up with friends. But for someone like me who uses a wheelchair, it can often be a bit more complicated, finding a place where you can get in through the front door and move about easily inside. This is despite the fact that these places are required to be accessible for disabled people by the law. I'm Ripu Bhatia, and I've come down here to Ponsonby Road in central Auckland to find out just how accessible the bars around here are. At the first place I visited, I was greeted by a step. It appeared at the start there was no way in, but then the bar staff came out and advised me that there was a ramp entrance around the side, so I went there. The problem was there was this floral decor sitting there, essentially blocking the path, and it was a little bit awkward. They did offer to move it out the way, but I found it quite uncomfortable and not really that great and inviting. But I suppose it is something they could have shifted out the way, perhaps if they got a few hands to help them out. I had a similar experience at the next place where there was a step at the front entrance. I was eventually advised by the bar staff that there was a back entrance a few streets around the back. So I went down the street, went around, was looking around, went through a car park for about 10 minutes until I eventually stumbled upon that back entrance, and there was a ramp there. It felt like I was miles away from where I was before, and really wasn't that welcoming or inviting or really the best experience. Having said that, these places did actually have a ramp and some sort of accessibility, whereas a lot of places I found didn't have any of that. The next place I visited, I found I could get in through the main entrance. The problem was there was stairs to get to the bar and the main seating in the bathroom, and that's where you go to order a drink. And if you're someone in a wheelchair like me, you're going to want to plan out your night. You're not going to want to go to a place like that if you can't access those sort of services. So you could get in, but you couldn't really go anywhere, so it was a bit problematic. It didn't really pass the accessibility test for me. Another place I went to had a similar issue. I could get in through the main entrance and they had stairs to the bar, but they in fact had a ramp to get around it. The problem is when I went up the ramp, there was another step there to get to the bar. So there were still problems, and the bathroom was also too narrow for me to get into, and it really wasn't a place that I'd want to go to. And this all really contributes to it not really being a very welcoming, inviting experience. I collected data, and there's 22 bars along Ponsonby Road, and 10 of these failed in terms of accessibility, meaning they didn't have an accessible entrance. You couldn't get to the bar or a bathroom that was accessible. This means there's around a 50-50 chance of whether or not I can even get into a bar around here. Not only is this against the law, it's also economically detrimental to these places, as I'll have to go and spend my money somewhere else.